What's up, you guys? This is Robert at Shy Bears Plus. You found us on YouTube. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am joined by Jeff at +_shy via 2 tin cans and a string. A lot of people call it the interwebs. Say hello to the folks.
Hello, folks.
Hello. You have joined us for a special vested edition of the Shy Bears Plus show. We are going to be 2 for 1 in this bad boy, all right? We're doing a Week 11 review. We're doing a Week 12 preview. We're going to do it as hot, fast, crispy, like we always do. So make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you smack the bell. Like this video. We're going to get it all done for you. It's a short week for everybody. Make sure that you be you. And you know what? Let's get into it. All right, folks. We always start off with stats. Stats of the week. What you got for me, young man?
Yeah, buddy, let's go back to last week and talk about the Bears' dominant defense against the second worst rushing offense in the league with the Minnesota Vikings. Actually, the Minnesota Vikings, I was really surprised at this. Second worst rushing team in the league after last year. They were really dominant with the run. They only averaged 84 yards a game. This game, they had 22 yards against the Bears on Sunday night. For 14 carries. That's like a 1.2 average if my TF North math works out. The Bears gave up 284 yards total on defense. Quite well. Tariq Cohen for the year has the best quarterback passer rating when thrown to by any running back in the NFL at 148. 153 or 158 is perfect. Davey Scoreboard's favorite player, Kyle Fuller, who he wanted to get rid of worse than anything, has 4 INTs on the year. That's number 2 in the NFL. Khalil Mack leads the NFL with 5 forced fumbles. He had 1 really big one and a recovery. He's number 2 in the NFL with fumbles recovered. Amazing there. This game right here is this Vikings to Lions Sunday night to Thursday turnaround is the shortest turnaround time in NFL history ever. Going back to the merger, we'll jump into that a little bit later. And then kind of what we talked about. I'll say this. Last week I gave my stats of the week that the Vikings had the number 1 third down defense, giving up a first down 25% of the time. That was my number 1 what to watch for going into this game. The Bears were 6 for 12, 50%, which is quite a good job for the number 1 against the number 1 third down defense in the league. Awesome to see.
Yep. So yeah, we are reviewing. Those are some of the stats. I forgot to mention, but Vikings 20, Bears 25. Bears are 7-3. Vikings 5-4-1. The Bears are in first place. It's fantastic. And then with some of those stats, with some of those takeaways, man, if we didn't have so many of the giveaways, we were 3-3 on this takeaways and the giveaways, this game wouldn't have been that close at all. I feel like we were starting to run away with that game a couple times. A fumble in the red zone, an invitations pick here or there. But we can get into all that stuff. What we really need to find out is what did we get right? That's what we should do first. So I'm at what to watch for. My first one was Parky's leg. I said, is it gonna affect my Nagy's confidence in him? And the Bears were going for 2. So that seemed to be predetermined because of what was going on during the week. They mentioned analytics and some other things too, but I have a feeling that it was something to do with maybe some of the clings. I'll forward them. So anyway, what to watch for? Did you get anything right?
Yeah, all of them. And actually,
yeah, me too. So let's go back and forth.
Right. I talked about the Bears offense on third down, Vikings defense on third down. So let's move past that. Cousins, one-play Cousins. I talked about last week how Kirk Cousins has that one play in him that is going to mess up everything for the Vikings. He did that big interception there in the second half, I believe, for that pick six by Edward Jackson. And then why don't you give us another what to watch for that you got right from last week?
I had the same thing. Cousins choke. He's been known to choke in big games. Saints, Rams, and Green Bay, all non-victories, the big teams that they played before, so I predicted that would happen again. Let's go ahead and shoot me another one.
Lastly was my Bears defensive backs. Last week, the Bears were number 2 in INTs. I believe they lead the league now versus the Vikings wide receivers. We evidently held Adam Thielen to 66 yards. He was leading the NFL in receiving yards. Really good job. Yeah, Diggs, those guys are going to get theirs, but it wasn't enough to beat us, so that was good to see.
Yeah, I've been riding the hot-handed DraftKings with Thielen for quite a while because he's been putting up, 10 and a touchdown and putting up yards. My final one was Trubisky versus Harrison Smith rivalry. And boy, did I kind of get that one right. Just like the end of last year, it came down to the debated pick. And this year it came down to the end of the game where Mitch Trubisky gets a late hit by Harrison, Dirty Harry Smith. Thought it was kind of a punk move. Hit him late like that. He knew he was down. I think Harrison Smith was frustrated that, Mitch is getting out there, getting those first downs up through the pass and on the run at 50%. He was just getting sick of it, and he wanted to hit somebody, and he did it. And he took a cheap shot. I really felt like it was cheap. It was way extra late.
A little bit, and then Mitchell is a little awkward with the slides, but he does give himself up. And what I found out is that you can give yourself up going head first, which he did, got popped. And, real quick on that Dirty Harry move, late in the fourth quarter where we needed a key third down conversion, Zimmer was he would have Harrison up, and then he would drop him right before the snap about 15 yards. And what the Bears did is they ran Robinson right at him for that little dig route on the end, hit Robinson right before Smith for a big first down there late in the game. So it was good to do it right in his grill.
Clutch throw by Mitchell. I thought it was a pretty clutch situation, too. For all the wrongs that he had in the game. And, he's super gritty. The big throws and the big runs.
He's tied for the best quarterback in the division.
No doubt. Moving on, Bears victory pluses. I said pressure Cousins, and he will choke. And we got in his face, and he coughed it up a couple times. He did not play well. Most of his stats are during garbage time. What do you got?
Cousins' lowest yard per attempt and team tackling. Bears victory plus needed team tackle. They did a pretty good job of that.
Yep. My next one was throw the rock, intermediate routes. And we did that. I thought that running the ball up the middle was not going to be huge, and I wanted to throw the ball over the middle. I thought it was where we could attack. Although, man, Howard looked pretty strong up the middle a couple times there, and I was surprised they didn't go back to that, but
me too.
Nagy's going to be him. So what do you got?
Yeah. I had Mitch find the answer. As Coach Nagy always said, there's an answer in every play, and I felt like Mitch did a pretty good job of that. There was one play where it was a exotic play action, and it was like he was going to wind up and chuck it deep to Miller, kind of what Patrick Mahomes did, but then he got hit and a couple interceptions late in the game.
Right.
Mitchell was going to wind up, chuck it deep. He did not. He dumped it off. That was, I feel like, a turning point, and he could throw 3 interceptions this week. Who knows? But
sure.
I felt some more patience and maturation from that going through his progressions.
Yep. I agree, too. I think it's getting a little bit better all the time. And even, the new appointed DD of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes throws picks. It happens, especially when they're trying to make a play and force something in there. It does happen, but I think the body of work is something you have to look at. You can't micromanage. Every one play is not an indictment of your entire career. My final one was Trubisky's legs are the X factor. When all else goes wrong and you go through the progression, I just thought that it would be right there, X factor, those 2 legs. That was going to be the difference on getting a couple of first downs, and it's just the reason why you want to have a more mobile quarterback is that extra dimension that totally frustrates the defense, demoralizes them, and moves the chains.
This is a nail. You nailed it.
Oh,
All right. My
don't
last
step on
Bears
that.
what to watch for was number 58, and the Bears' defensive interior line did a spectacular job against Minnesota's subpar front five, and then number 58 is just everywhere. He did give up a catch against, I think it was Rudolph on an out pattern.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. It's so hard for any linebacker in the league for man-to-man coverage. And Smith is probably one of the fastest middle linebackers in the league. So I don't get upset about that. It's like, who else are you going to put? I'd rather have Smith be on man coverage rather than a Mack or a Floyd. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, no doubt. And having all those athletes at linebacker gives you the flexibility to pick and choose what you do want to do, which is great to have. Vikings victory pluses. I didn't nail a whole lot of them. I said that the Vikings would nickel and dime us to death. Keep it underneath with Diggs and Thielen. Try to get Cooks involved. That was one thing I nailed. But it's hard to nail when you're trying to find ways for the Vikings to win when you know they're not going to win. It's hard to do. So that's all I got.
Certainly.
You could rapid fire all of yours if you got them.
Yeah, sure. The Vikings needed to keep it close in order to win, and they almost did that. It didn't get out of hand. When you're up by 20 points going into every fourth quarter, a team is going to throw the ball, especially against Fangio, who's going to have a lax, more prevent-based defense coverage or a base nickel in those situations. He's going to give you 80 yards. He's just going to stop you inside the red zone. So the Vikings, they kind of kept it close, not close enough. Run effectively to win. 1.2 yards is not effective running. And then Cousins, don't F it up. He F'd it up. Bears victory, whatever today is.
Monday/Tuesday. We're doing the show on a Tuesday. My prediction was Bears 31, Vikings 21. Not too far off, not as close. How did you do?
27-24 Bears. There was 25-20 Bears. As usual, I am correct with my prognostication. That's why Jeff's best bets is batting over 700. We just broke the 30-win mark. I believe we are 32-19-2, so maybe not 700, but pretty darn close. All righty.
Yes.
So,
all the real-life emotes right here.
Let's go. Last thing I want to talk about before we move on to this Thanksgiving Lions game is number 94, Leonard Floyd, and you could see how he's really starting to grow in his zone, especially without that cast. I thought his run defense was impeccable. I thought he was really solid with outside contain. He's fast. He's aggressive. And he may not be back, but I guarantee he's getting pressures. I don't have that stat with me right now, but number 94 is getting pressures, and that's a lot you could ask for.
Yeah. I think that they are going to complement him and Mac each other very well. As far as Mac get the initial pressure, and Floyd's going to eventually be the guy chasing him down, and we're just running into sacks. And I'm surprised how well he plays the two gap, for being so little. And he's not little, but not a conventional defensive end really, or outside linebacker. As far as he's thin and lanky, so the way he could cover two gaps, it's impressive. He uses his arms and uses leverage quite a bit. Yeah. I got a whole bunch of just notes here and there. So I want to hit the obvious one first off. Parkey. I had a Parkey watch, 0 for 0 on the extra points, 3 for 3, the long 48. The guy's kicking the field goals, and Nagy had the stones to go to him with 2:48 in the fourth quarter, and basically the game-winning field goal there. And great call. He had the little wink and stuff all after that. I don't know if I could have made the call. I don't know. But he did it, and I was super impressed. And
well, they called a timeout there, and they took a good amount of time to make that call. And I don't think that was the call he wanted to make, but it was the call he needed to make, and it was the right call.
Look at that. And I think that if he didn't nail one earlier, if he missed anything before that, done cakes. It was a short leash. But unbelievable stuff. Offense, had to go a bunch of notes. Do you have any offensive notes to go through? We can go back and forth on them?
No, of what? The Vikings or Lions?
Vikings. The Vikings game. Let's close.
Nope, no, I'm pretty much wrapped up on the Vikings. Last thing I'll say about the Vikings, and then you could go hard for a little bit, is the Bears' team speed, quite evident, both on offense and defense. And then Cousins' inability to evade the rush. I thought that, like you said, Mitchell's legs was an X factor. And I think Cousins' legs was an X factor. You know, you can't get away from the Bears' team speed. And I don't know if Mitchell could get away from the Bears' defensive team speed, but Cousins not making plays with his feet could have been the deciding factor.
He doesn't want to run. He wants to get the ball out quick because he knows. And there was one time he tried sneaking away, and I think it was Mack who did a twist and went inside, and he tried getting out, and Hicks was right there. He thought he was going to get the corner, and it was like, no, you're just not fast enough.
Well, he ran the ball on that. I think they had 4 minutes left to go where I don't know what happened, if they did score or what, but it was like a third down, and it was like 3rd and 1, and he could have ran.
For sure.
And he didn't, and I'm happy he didn't. He threw in like quadruple coverage.
No doubt. All right, offensive quick ones. Shout out to Cohen for juking Harrison Smith. I love to see it. So crispy. Who knew that Harrison Smith could be juked? Because I don't think I've ever seen it.
That's about.
Trubisky did enough to win. Maybe he didn't have the best stats, but like I said, he's a gritty, grimy player who gets third down conversions with his feet, made some big boy throws to extend drives. Go ahead. Do you have something to add on that?
Yeah, just look at Drew Brees' number versus the Vikings and Mitchell Trubisky's number against the Vikings, and that's all I'm going to say. Keep going.
Yeah, that's a talented defense, and it's just hard to predict them to put up a 50 burger. Shout out to the O-line, 1 sack versus a team that gave up 10 sacks the game before. I was just touting their defensive ends. Hunter, Griffin, dude's balling out. Griffin came back, started balling out. So, yeah, shout out to those guys. I can't believe we protected so well. I thought Mitch was going to be running around quite a bit. Unbelievable. I said before, Howard was running so hard. Every once in a while, could we just line up on a normal dive play, power, and see what happens? Because, man, he was running behind his pads and making some contact and running possessed like he has something to prove.
I heard a press conference not too long ago where Matt Nagy's like, he hates 2nd and 8. It's like, okay, but 2nd and 8 is better than 2nd and 10, and the clock is moving. If you're up 20 points and it's in the 4th quarter with 8 minutes left and you have the ball and it's 1st and 10, it should be a guaranteed run. I don't care if there's 10 guys in a box. McVay almost lost that game yesterday because that bootleg throw with Goff got knocked down, stopped the clock. They had to give the ball back to the Chiefs. They ended up winning that game, but man, these guys, it's the new NFL. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, gamblers, card players. Yes, Anthony Miller, eating all that cereal. With those celebrations, man, like he kind of pushed somebody out of the way so he could do the feed me, eating that ramen noodles or whatever he was. He worries me sometimes. I hope that he doesn't give me 15 because I want to love the dude. When I see him playing, I want to love him. The routes, the catches, the fire. But don't give me 15. You got to chill it out, keep it under control, man. That's pretty much about all I got. Because I already covered Dirty Harry and some of the other stuff. And then defense, I thought the Hicks roughing, pretty good call. I was mad at first, but once I saw that he could have easily just not took down Cousins.
He knew he didn't have the ball.
Yeah, he was right in front of him. And then the Smith PI, I thought that was a bad call. I thought they were tangled up. I don't think that should have been on that Rudolph play. I don't think they should have called that. Mack and Hicks wrecked this game. Mack 2 tackles, a sack, a pass deflection, a forced fumble. Hicks 6 tackles, a fumble recovery. 5 tackles for a loss, a sack, and it must have been 24 to 30 plays where they just completely wrecked the play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, unbelievable. You get these 2nd and shorts, they become 3rd and 3s. These offensive coordinators think they're just going to run the ball and pick up a quick first down. You go against Miami, it's in the overtime game. All these guys are huffing and puffing. They're on a 1-inch yard line. They don't score. That's what Hicks does for this defense. Goldman, Bullard, and Nichols. Unbelievable front 4 right there.
Boy, do they get all 4 or 5 of those guys get held every play. It's unbelievable. But hey, I don't want to be conspiracy theorist or anything like that. Just saying, hey, there's something they're doing it on purpose. I don't know. Maybe they're letting it go. I don't know. But something's weird. Anyway, Callahan. First time I remember saying he dropped a pick, and I'm like, man, that's the first time I ever saw him do something where I'm like, oh, come on, Callahan, because the dude has been solid. So props, but hey, squeeze it, homeboy. I know you could do it. And yeah, the Jackson touchdown was just sick. That was my last thing on defense. I mean, he ran that wide receiver's route for him, and that cover two, picked it, took it to the house, dude. It was so fun, so needed, and if you look at my Twitter feed, go look at the timestamp. I called it out right before the play happened. So I thought I just had the feeling we're to get that turnover, scooper and score a touchdown. And all the people who liked on it and commented, I see you. I see you out there.
Last thing, Eddie Jackson, real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you letting me jump in. Eddie Jackson has maybe the most touchdowns in his draft class. That includes wide receivers.
Of all the ones before him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So take a look at that. He might be top 3 in all of his draft class for how many touchdowns he scored so far in the last 2 years.
Unreal. I've dogged him a little bit for a little lackadaisical tackling every here and there in some of the games that we lost, but take a look a couple of those instances away. Guy looks like a Pro Bowler.
It's tough, yeah. A fourth rounder.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's your executive of the year, finding depth later on.
There might be a lot of the years on this team.
Yeah, especially
Coach
this year.
of the Year, awards. Anyway, wrap up the...
Matt Nagy isn't even listed in Vegas for the Coach of the Year awards yet.
That's insane.
Sean McVay is the favorite. So
that's crazy.
If you get some good on, that might be your Jeff's best bets. Should we move it to Thanksgiving Turkey Day football?
Not yet. One more thing. Scoreboard Dave.
Oh, okay.
Scoreboard Dave had a question. After a 7-3, so Bears are 7-3 after a win versus Minnesota Vikings. What does it mean to you? Is it all hype? Where do you feel that the Bears are at as a team? Potentially, just a quick couple thoughts for you if you had them, and then I want to answer too.
No. Why don't you answer first? Because I'm going to
Sure.
bring up some more ammunition to facts prove my point.
People love facts, y'all. Anyway, after this win. The Bears finally answered some questions by beating a team who went to the NFC North Championship last year. One of the top tier defenses in the league, and a team that has really improved on offense with Cousins by being more productive. A couple of Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers. So, in my opinion, this doesn't prove that the Bears are Super Bowl bound. I do feel like it puts them in the driver's seat to make the playoffs and win the division. I feel like the Bears, with their potential on offense, where I feel like they could drop 40 on almost anybody, and I feel like they could darn near shut out almost anybody. Maybe they're a little bit inconsistent on both sides, which a lot of teams are, and there are no perfect teams in the NFL, but they're good enough to have a chance to beat every team in the league, even the top 4, 5, or 6 that may be power ranked ahead of them. I think they could be in on that because they have some things that other teams don't have, like a top-tier defense. They're not all one thing. Maybe they're both not perfect, and we're in the first year of this whole Nagy culture environment. But I think the future's bright, and I think they can compete with everyone. I'm not saying they're going to beat everyone.
The NFL is so bass-ackwards. Detroit wins against New England.
Sure. But
lose to the Bears, okay, in a rout, 40-17 or whatever. So, you never know. And if they're a true expert, you don't know what you're going to get, and everybody will say that. You don't know what you're going to get week in, week out. But with that being said, the Bears at least they're giving you a chance. Every week they're going to give you a chance. They lost by 1 yard to New England. They lost by a combined 11 points in 3 games. They are for real. They have not started one player on either side of the football that is 30 years old or over. So think of how many teams in the NFL could say that. So not only do they have a first-year head coach, a second-year quarterback, everybody else is very young, obviously, that we just talked about. We talked about all their draft picks that Nagy has incorporated over the last 3 or 4 years. This team is for real. They're going to be for real. I do not foresee a Philadelphia Eagles type collapse like this year from last year, and that was different with the quarterback and Frank Wright leaving and stuff. But
Right.
This team is for real, and if we go back and you want to go take a look at every single one of my picks, I got 2 wrong, but I did have them going 7-3 for the first 10 games, and I was right. So Jeffy picked facts are facts, but the Bears are for real. You don't need stats. You just need to see just the speed, the talent, and the coaching. Just how, not necessarily how aggressive, but they're always ready to play. We don't see a lot of too many poor efforts.
Remember that, the always ready to play in the coaching, because I want to bring that up in a little bit. But let me see this time stamp here, 25-25. All right. Because we are moving into week 12. It's turkey time. Bears on the road, 7-3, on short rest. So are the Lions, who played earlier in the afternoon, but the Bears played a Sunday night game. The Lions are 4-6. They just beat Carolina, who would have thought they would have beat Carolina 20-19. And then you mentioned just a minute ago that they beat the Patriots earlier this year. We just beat them. And
the Packers.
Yeah. So who knows? It's the NFL, right? I have my concerns about this game, and we just got hit on Monday with some crazy news with the injury report, and which continued a little bit on today. But injuries, Shaheen and Lynch, depth at outside linebacker, they both have concussions, and depth at tight end. Shaheen comes back and he's in protocol. Probably not going to be available by the time they get through protocol. Trubisky, we'll cover that in a second, but also in our favor, Kerryon Johnson sprained his knee last game. Probably going to be out. Probably going to miss a couple of weeks.
I think he's out.
Is he officially out? Okay.
I don't know that. I'm sorry, but I've heard all day he's out, and they're not even.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on him playing either. But I heard the medical came out good, but he was still going to miss some time. And then Marvin Jones, one of the Pro Bowl guy, or one of the professional wide receivers on this team, that things that scare me, where I feel like it helps them move the ball, probably won't be available. I know that he was on the list as well, but I guess we have to cover the big thing. Mitch Trubisky came out with a shoulder. We talked about it earlier. The Harrison Smith hit last week in Week 11, and it was a late hit. And then his shoulder they didn't want to come out and say what the injury was. They didn't think it was career-threatening, season-threatening. Looks like the Pro Football Doctor for the San Diego Union Tribune, if you guys want to Google that and take a look at it, he wrote up on why he feels like, because of the short week, the type of injury that it looked like. I am not a doctor, but he felt like that he didn't think Mitch Trubisky would not be ready in time. I'm hearing that Schefter said that the Bears were optimistic that Trubisky would play. It throws a whole wrench in all my prediction stuff. I was really hoping that we're going to say, hey, everything's cool. Hey, he was going to not play. He didn't practice because it was Monday and they didn't have practice. They just kind of threw him on there because he was feeling a little sore. It seems a little bit more serious. What say you? Do you have anything to before we get into the your what to watch for, and then the rest of it on Trubisky?
I'll just give a couple quick thoughts. When I initially thought the injury occurred when he had that awkward slide when his arm got tangled up a little bit in the first half, and he winked and he said he was okay. When that happened, I initially thought back to when Chase Daniels played against. Now I don't even know if it's Daniels or Daniels. It's James Daniels and Chase Daniels.
Yes.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm right? Okay. So when he slid awkwardly, I immediately thought back to the Kansas City game this preseason where Chase Daniel led the Bears to a victory. You don't want to put too much stock in preseason, but he did go up against the first team Kansas City defense. He's been in this offense for 5 years. He's 32 years old. He's been in the league. He's made $30 million in the league. Probably one of the best backups in the league. And with how good the Bears are playing, I have confidence. Not as much as I would if Mitchell would play, but I do have confidence in Chase, and I think
I was going to say the same thing. Chase Daniels took a second string offense and beat the Kansas City's first in the preseason. They moved the ball very well. I mean, I think it was Michael LaCalifornia was saying that Chase Daniel over Mitch Trubisky, and it's not even close, or something weird, a crazy tweet out there before where people were calling for Chase Daniel, and we're like, what? Come on, man. Mitch is money Mitch. Give the kid a chance. So because of that, and then the culture of this team coming out and being ready to play every single first drive, first halves, coming out and jumping on top of teams, carrying the lead. Some of these games shouldn't have been even that close, but they're playing defense, super prevent defense, which last game I was they're letting them catch ahead of them, but they weren't tackling them in bounds. They're letting them get outside when they're kind of doing some dancing and stuff, get them on the ground, and don't play prevent unless you're going to tackle them in bounds and keep the clock running. One criticism on the Bears defense.
Pro Football Focus has ranked the first half Bears in 2018 to be one of the top 5 teams ever in the NFL.
I'm not surprised. They were completely dominant in the first half. So that being said, Nagy, culture and the preparedness, and every time that there's been a adverse situation, they've checked the box and answered the bell. So I think I'm not going to give my prediction, but I still feel favorable about this team with our chances, all things being said, with Chase Daniel. Did you have a what to watch for before we do our victory pluses?
Yeah, speaking of hitting the bell, make sure to hit the bell on Shy Bears Plus on YouTube. Subscribe to Shy Bears Plus and like this video. My what to watch for Bears Lions Week 12, Thanksgiving Day. The rest or the lack of rest, but the youth of the Bears, which I touched upon a little bit ago. Olin Kreutz said when he was 25 years old, he wanted to put the pads on the next day. So there's a lot of 25-year-olds on this team. Thank goodness. The Lions at home, we touched upon it earlier. Packers, Patriots, Panthers. Oh, my. Luckily, the Bears don't have a P in their name. We'd be in trouble. So those are my 2 what to watch for. The Bears being young with the lack of rest, and the Lions a different team at Ford Field as they are on the road.
Yeah, I was thinking the Trubisky thing, but I knew I wanted to cover it with injuries and in depth because I know and it was such a hot topic. And to continue on with Parkey's leg, definitely want to throw that in there, but I want to double dip from last week. But carrying on, Bears victory pluses, very similar to last time we played them. Not a whole lot has changed in my opinion, except for do we have Chase Daniel? Do we have Mitch Trubisky? We might want to try to run the ball. If Mitch is 80% with the shoulder, Chase Daniel, it might be an opportunity. I still am not running at these defensive tackles. I'm not running up the middle, but there are opportunities. I know they ran a lot of jet sweeps and things like that, pitches, screens.
But you say that, but we had excellent running against the Vikings up the middle. Now that was after a lot of counter jet sweeps. We had that awesome reverse type deal that I never seen before. I'm not anti-running up the middle, but yes, the Lions do have some tough interior defensive linemen.
Yep, and I still feel like we could beat the secondary. I still feel like it's bombs away. Our team speed. Who's going to cover our wide receivers on this team? Slay might be feeling a little better. He played. It seemed like from the little bit that I saw, he was running around and getting around a little bit better last week, and they beat the Panthers. But still, he can't guard them all.
Guard 4 guys.
Yeah, exactly. Those were all my Bears victory pluses. Keep it simple. Do the same thing you did last time, regardless of the quarterback. But I would put a little emphasis more on high percentage running type situations. Is if Mitch is hurt and if we see Chase ease him into there, I wouldn't have him throw the ball 50 times, personally.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm all in favor of what you said. Bears victory pluses from JKZ. Forget about 2 weeks ago. Didn't happen. Okay? Come out here with fire and intensity like you've never seen this team before ever. And we're a 0-0 record. Forget about 2 weeks ago. And then the defense needs to stay aggressive and maximize the swag. This is definitely the heartbeat of the team. You know, Nagy is the man and all, but Hicks, Mack, this is the vertebrae of this team. We need them more than ever here, and we'll get them.
Yeah, absolutely. They could really uncomplicate things for our offense if they are that dominant on defense again. moving on to the Lions victory pluses. Two just really quick one, like I had last week or 2 weeks ago. Galladay, get him involved, target him. He's a player. He's jumping all over everybody, catching everything. So crispy, unbelievable. Get him the ball if you want to try to beat the Bears. And also, Kerryon Johnson going to be out. Riddick running the ball. Riddick catching out the slot. Riddick. I would feature him between the two of those guys, mixing in some blunt and short yardage here and there. That's what I would do to try to beat the Bears. That's all I got on that. Those are your players.
Great idea. I'll call Matt Patricia up and let him know what you said. Lions victory pluses from myself. Yeah, you're right. I won't. No huddle. Now, this goes completely against Matt Patricia. What he's trying to do is ball control offense and keep the defense up there, especially that their defense doesn't have as much talent or as many weapons. So you don't want that defense out there 40 minutes a game because the Bears were on the field for 35 minutes against the Vikings 25 minutes last week. So the Lions need to throw the ball, air it out, over 50 passes for Matt Stafford, no huddle offense, get the Bears defense winded early. Okay, Fangio does not like to go outside of exotic sets, or he loves to stay in base. Get those outside linebackers breathing heavily, same quick passes, long passes, just throw the heck out of the ball, and then as always keep it close. The Bears, as we've seen, whether it's a point differential, not the greatest team in the fourth quarter. Take advantage of that if you're the Lions. Keep it close if possible. They're done.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes you see them hurry up against our team, and it is in this prevent situation. And I don't know if it's so much the speed up that's going to be so effective against the Bears as our quarterbacks are 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. I mean, that helps too. But the quick passes in those situations, I would say, hey, unless we're up by 30, if we're up by 10, let's play as a regular defense and just keep suffocating people. And then I don't know. I'm having trouble with this Bears team giving up so many yards and points in the fourth quarter. My final thing to say was for the Lions is if you're Eric Decker, try not to get posterized by Alec Mack again, because 2 weeks in a row and against Decker, he put Decker on his back. He got a little bit over his knees and he got dominated. Try not to that happen on national TV. All right. It is prediction time though. I just don't know who's going to block our D-line on their team. That didn't change. I mean, yeah, we might have our situation at quarterback that might be a little crazy, but I think that we're going to figure it out. Nagy has such a stable environment, the culture, preparedness, all those different things. It's not going to matter. I still don't think they have anybody who's going to guard our tight ends or wide receivers. And if we have Chase Daniel, I don't think it matters. I think that he's still going to move the ball. He might not be a superstar, but he has enough with all other things considered. And I have the Bears 23, Lions 20, close game.
Oh, two different blues. Wow.
Yeah, right. I don't play around. It's so crispy on the board, on the whiteboard. I think it's gonna be a close game. Just because of if Trubisky was in, I'd pick us by 10, 15 points. Just because of the uncertainty and the walkthrough, the possibility of a different quarterback or Mitch being hurt, not being able to practice and walk through, plus of the short rest. I mean, if I had 3 days with Chase Daniels actually practicing this week, I'd be like 15 points. But the difference of, hey, you can know it all you want, but having the time wide receivers is the thing that scares me a little bit, was why it might be close. We'll probably be getting up, maybe into the 20s in points, in the third quarter, and then we'll probably back off and they'll chip away back at the lead, and that's the only reason it'll be close. It'll be closer than that score. It'll be further away than that score indicates. Not that so it looks like I have no confidence. But
yeah,
up to you, sir. What do you got?
Yeah, buddy. I'm a homer, and I like to bring my homer with me every week. But I've been pretty correct this year, because my ability to evaluate talent and use logic. But give me a big 40-20 Ford Field throwdown, doubling up. Who cares who's the quarterback for the Bears? We still, like you said, the offensive line for the Lions didn't change. They traded Golden Tate. Just because they have Slay back there, he can't guard 4 guys, like I already said. And Galladay is only one guy. They know more about him. And you might see more of that defense that prevents or 15-yard coverage, not let him get deep, or that double move where it seems like Kyle Fuller is a little susceptible to that early on into the game. So the Vikings don't have the weapons. The Bears have way more team speed and I don't want to say toughness, but their defense is obviously better. 40-20 Bears, bear down.
Sometimes I laugh at your predictions because I just I don't know. I'm just such a Sally when it comes to making these picks, and I always feel like it's going to be closer. But man, so many times you are right, and they do get it. They do get them. So anyway, I'm Robert at Shy Bears Plus. Follow me on Twitter, Shy Bears Plus. Instagram for all the dankest, crispiest memes only. They're right there, but you can also catch them on Twitter. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you smack that bell. And have you liked this video yet? It's been like 40 minutes. Would you like it already? Would you like it? Because it was good. Anyway, Jeff, say whatever you have to say. Plug yourself, and then take us home.
Make sure to check out Jeff's Best Bets Thanksgiving Extravaganza. We're going to pick all 3 games against the spread and the over-unders of all 3 games for Thanksgiving, just for a little fun and a little content to pass the time between now and Thursday. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter, +_shy. I'm Jeff, and that is all she wrote.